Moving on to another piece of drama, or a player that's had a lot of drama around him this season, is Kyrie Irving. But he might be in a better situation moving forward, as there might be some changes now happening in New York that are going to allow Kyrie to be a full-time player. When that will be is still not certain. Could be before the playoffs, could be during. But things are definitely different in the Eastern Conference if the Brooklyn Nets have Kyrie Irving for 7 games a series instead of 3 or 4 games a series. This is a different team. Like and especially now without James Harden, I think Kyrie being unavailable hurts this team a lot more than it did before, because you don't have that second star playmaker and shot creator on the perimeter. You have Simmons who can play make for you a bit, but he's not exactly creating buckets for you. You got KD, and that's it. So this is a big shift that could happen in the Eastern Conference. I'll pass this one off to you, Tyrik, but this could definitely change things in the Eastern Conference moving forward into the playoffs if he is available full time.
It could, but I'm still not like sold on this team. I'm not sold on this being their year. Because they said, I just got the report earlier, Ben Simmons is not even like fully ramped up. He's not even doing like intense basketball activities. So I'm not sure when this team is even gonna, debut, together, because KD's still out for at least a few more weeks. As you said, we don't know when this vaccine mandate in New York is going to be lifted. It could be like within the next month, or it could be during the postseason. We're not really sure. So I'm not sure if this is their year. But I do like the fact that they will at least potentially have Kyrie available, because it still makes them a little bit more deadly of a playoff threat, especially with KD coming back. But they've dug themselves a pretty big hole. I think it's inevitable they're probably going to be a playing team. But still, I would not want to see KD and Kyrie Irving in the first round, whether Ben Simmons is fully ramped up or not. I would not want to see that team in the first round. I think that's still like, it kind of reminds me of the Lakers last season. Like, we knew what the Lakers were capable of when they were fully healthy, fully on the court. And they gave the Suns a run for their money in the first round before AD went down with the injury. It could be a similar situation this season. So it's going to make the Eastern Conference playoffs a little more enticing for sure.
It just makes me sad, man. I hate this so often now. It's like we get these great teams, and I'm like, dude, I'm so excited to watch them play together, and then they just don't. Like, it started with like Kawhi and PG. They were having a good run. Like, obviously they made that conference finals run. They closed it out without Kawhi, so I'm assuming they would have with them. They could have made a really big run last year. Then the Nets with Harden, it's like they barely ever got to be together. And now the Nets made this other move, and I'm like, oh, this might be even more fun to watch, just because I like that Ben Simmons aspect of like one of those like inside forward playmakers. Something about that like style of play I just really enjoy. And so I just want to see them together, man. I just want to see them play. I don't know how, because there's no timetable on Ben Simmons or like the Kyrie situation. It's just tough. I I like to see the best players play, and I like to see the best brands of basketball play. And stars not playing, it just hurts. Even right now with Chris Paul out, I'm like, I hate to see it. The Suns were playing so good. They were on like at least probably 65 win pace. I'm like, we're watching greatness right now, and now it's just taken away. That's the only point I want to make here is I hate that.
Yeah, we're going to go into that even more when we talk about the what ifs with injuries later on. But yeah, I completely agree. Like, Brooklyn are going to be better with Kyrie, but they're hardly going to have any time to gel, to get any bit of chemistry coming back together into this back end of the season. They'll be better, obviously, if Kyrie can be back full time, but I don't necessarily consider them to be a contender or a favorite as far as a contender goes, even if he is back before the playoffs full time. Defense, still a lot of questions. Chemistry, obviously going to be a lot of questions. But as you said, Tyrik, I think this is going to be a very tough team to face for a first-round matchup. Like, if I'm Miami or I'm Chicago sitting at the top of the East right now, and I got to deal with Brooklyn in a first-round matchup, that does not sound like a fun time. But ultimately, I don't think they're like a top 2 or 3 team in the East for me personally right now. But they're going to be a tough beat, no doubt about it, regardless of when or how Kyrie is back. They're going to be a tough team to beat, no doubt about it.
Who's your top 2 or 3?
Top 2 or 3 right now. Top 2 is Bucks and Miami for sure.
Bucks and Miami.
That's my
So
top 2.
you don't got the Bulls or Philly up there like that?
3 is probably Philly.
3 is
then it's kind of just I don't
I'm
really
gonna
know.
go.
I can
I'm
go
gonna go
anywhere
it's time
then.
to put on my DeMar DeRozan hat. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you real quick.
Man, I love DeMar,
That
but
boy,
I hate feeling
that
the
boy
Bulls
is
like that.
breaking, bro. He is breaking Will Chamberlain numbers,
I would love to
and he
have
has.
them prove me wrong because DeMar's my guy, but I just got to keep it how I feel.
Yeah, I like the Bulls. I'm just not sure if they're like top 2 right now. Even though they are top 2, I don't know if they realistically are a top 2 team, like a threat to win the Eastern Conference. But the
Listen,
East is
bro.
so wild. The East is so wild. I would not be surprised at all because that team's
Given
super
matchup,
talented, man.
I think the Celtics or the Heat have a chance to take out the Bucks. Bro, the Bucks are the only team where I'm like, bro, the Bulls are not beating them. So if one of those other two matches up with the Bucks first, if they can duck the Bucks, I think they can make it. I think Miami's offense can go so stagnant. I think the Bulls can. The Bulls can tee up.
I don't
I
think the
think
Bulls. I don't think they can beat Philly.
you don't
I'm gonna
think the
throw
Bulls
that
can
out
beat
there.
Philly.
I
I
don't
don't
think
even
so.
know if Philly can stay healthy.
They haven't had
I
health
also
problems
don't
all
know
year.
I don't know how much I can trust their depth either. They haven't had health problems, but Harden's had health problems over the last year.
You could you
And B,
could you could say you could say the same thing about the Bulls. They've been one of the most injured teams all season long.
hey, that means they'll all be back, bro. I'm just saying it could go anybody's way. It could go anybody. Don't count them out. Don't count out the Bulls.
I'm
I think
definitely
I
not
have
putting
a
money in the East. I'm not putting money on
oh
anything.
nah
It's so open.
no
So open.
no like there's realistically I think 7 teams that can make like runs,
Yeah.
maybe even more. I don't know, like it's crazy. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors could win a first round series. Like that's just how insane the East is. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. No, I'd say even if Atlanta like really turn it up going into the playoffs, I could stretch it as far as them. Although they'd have to be on a run. Currently I wouldn't say so, but
Yeah.
if they're hot, if the Raptors are hot, like there's 9 teams that could be a tough series either way. Like that's going to be that's got to be one of the, if not the best first rounds, at least on paper, for what the Eastern Conference will be. And I'm
I
sure
need
they'll
Bulls
eat my
versus
words
Heat.
and then they'll probably disappoint me, but let's hope not.
Everything in me needs Bulls versus Heat to happen in this playoffs. I'm
That's
gonna
gonna
be
be a
very conflicted.
series.
I'm gonna root for the Bulls, but
That's tough.
Kyle Lowry versus DeMar DeRozan for 7 games. Give me that, bro. If it was the conference finals, give me that. Give me that.
Ooh.
I'm gonna be a kid in a candy store. I'm gonna be sitting there in a onesie pajama set watching basketball with some popcorn in front of me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, if they both get through, that would be the conference finals. So
I think I would take the Heat. I think I would take the Heat in that matchup. I can't lie.
yeah, I
Might
probably would.
take
I
Miami.
probably would too.
I think I agree. I probably agree. But I like to be a Bulls homer just because of DeMar.
Respect.
I
He's
feel that.
been crazy. They need to get healthy more than anything, but that's because they're missing like half their rotation right now. It seems like they're missing a lot of guys, but DeMar he's still carrying. He's got his backpack on, man. Shout out to him.
X. Tristan Thompson was a good ad too. He's only got 1 game there so far, but it's a good ad.
Decent addition. Yeah, just depth in the front court. That's the only question I really have for the Bulls, like their front court depth. I don't think I think DeMar is gonna write off some of those playoff struggles from the past. I don't really have questions about like Levine not having playoff experience or Lonzo Ball. I think they'll be fine. It's just a matter of health and the others. Like, is Vucevic going to be able to produce? And guys like that.